I'm a sucker for a good fantasy role-playing game, but Amalur weathered a hell of a storm and sheer unadulterated development hell. Did it come out broken or perfectly worn? Poor Amalur. It started out as an online MMO, only to change due to the studio going out of business. They struggled. The scale of what they were creating was arguably too big for the size of their studio, and interest from the powers that be waned. But somehow, someway, this fantasy RPG made it through the storm and became a cult classic. Not a household name, not even the start of a franchise, just a standalone game that was critically acclaimed by critics and players alike. A large open world full of new races, incredible creatures, and an immense quantity of lore. It's hard not to get lost in Amalur. From the opening moments, the story had me gripped. I was impressed by the visuals, which was certainly pushing the technology of its time to its limits. I loved the rich, vibrant land that was before me, its incredible inhabitants, NPCs, and monsters. It just all worked so remarkably well. Now, when you create a character, you have a tremendous amount of customization options. The races, genders, presets, and cosmetic touches. But one thing is missing, and this immediately threw me the first time I booted up. There is no class choice. How can a fantasy RPG not have a class option, I thought? Gradually, as the game plays out, it becomes apparent. You aren't limited like other games of its ilk, and can in fact build whatever you want. A heavy armoured tank who uses a bow? How about a nimble rogue who throws fire? You can make whatever you want with minimal limitations, and I love that. Sure, some builds work better in some situations, but I never once felt forced to rebuild my character. Amalur puts even Final Fantasies to shame in some areas, especially when it comes to the rich story and world's lore. Sure, it has its flaws. There are some repetitive elements, such as the mobs, but nothing that crippling. And all things considered, this game should have been a mess. It defied the odds and came out a spectacular, fun, engrossing experience. I award Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning a dragon-slaying 8 out of 10. Rant time. I'm a veteran of the fantasy role-playing game, I guess. I've played every single Final Fantasy, random obscure JRPGs, I adore Secret of Mana, and oh yeah, I was a World of Warcraft addict for the best part of a decade. I love fantasy games, but games like WoW are simply crack and hazardous for people like me. Many modern JRPGs are very niche, and annoying, shouty schoolgirls just aren't my thing. And then you have Final Fantasy, which honestly hasn't exactly blown me away since 10. There are a lot of reasons for this, but primarily it's the removal of the turn-based combat. I mean, seriously, what a slap in the face to the fans. I mean, we're talking 14 years of turn-based combat, over 10 games, and that's what they think is best for the series? What an absolute cockslap. I understand evolving a series, but don't change the core fundamentals, or you risk alienating the original fans. Like me. Bastards. So what did you think of Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning? Will you begin the remaster? What do you think about the current state of the Final Fantasy games? Do you agree that taking away turn-based combat was a bad call? Tell me in the comments below. Like this video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. Take care, folks.